Hello, my name is Shai Tubali. I am an author and speaker in the field of self-transformation and an academic philosopher specializing in mysticism and Eastern thought. In this presentation, I'd like to share with you a simple but powerful practice that derives from Eastern traditions of meditation. This practice, which I call stepping down from the eternal seesaw, is designed to establish a state of true inner power in you. When you possess true inner power, you are able to fearlessly embrace and cope with life's ceaseless ups and downs. This practice is among the few techniques that I consider truly life-changing. It can be easily weaved into your daily routine, and even just one day of practice would be a revealing experience. A full month of practice would enable you to benefit from its life-changing results. First, let me introduce the principles of stepping down from the eternal seesaw and true inner power. There is one ancient Taoist parable that vividly and perfectly conveys these two principles. A farmer had only one horse, and one day the horse ran away. The neighbors came by to console the farmer over his terrible loss. The farmer said, "What makes you think it is so terrible?" A month later, the horse came home, bringing with her two beautiful wild horses. The neighbors became excited and rushed over to congratulate the farmer on his good fortune. The farmer said, "What makes you think this is good fortune?" The farmer's son tried to ride one of the wild horses, but he was thrown and broke his leg. All the neighbors were very distressed. Such bad luck. The farmer said, "What makes you think this is bad luck?" A war came, and every able-bodied man from the village was conscripted and sent into battle. Only the farmer's son with the broken leg was spared. The neighbors congratulated the farmer. "What makes you think this is so good?" said the farmer. So that's the story. Now, what makes this story such a perfect illustration of true inner power? It is the way the farmer treats equally both good fortune and terrible losses. Most people would choose this kind of perspective only when it comes to their losses, their experiences of weakness in the world. When they are faced with a crisis, disease, or dramatic failure, they often console themselves with the encouraging thought that this terrible thing will lead to something good that is waiting just around the corner. But as long as this perspective is employed only in states of weakness and loss, it is in fact a form of compensation, a fake tactic of mental empowerment. To overcome the feeling of weakness, our psyche produces the thought that the bad will eventually lead to something good, or that there is some hidden meaning to the bad, or that this bad spares us from experiencing something even worse. The greatness of this Taoist story is that the farmer embraces this approach equally in good times and in bad times. Even when his power seems to rise, he rejects the temptation of satisfaction. This may seem so odd and unreasonable at first, but this endows the farmer's refusal to feel sad when bad things happen with exceptional depth and meaning. As soon as your states of external power and states of external weakness are experienced by you as one and only state that neither elevates you nor makes you collapse, know that you have tapped into your true inner power. When your power declines and you don't collapse, and when your power increases and you don't rejoice, you have stepped down from the eternal seesaw of constant rising and falling. You are all familiar with the experience of the eternal seesaw. When your wishes are thwarted, your whole being feels down. When your wishes get fulfilled, your spirit is uplifted. I intentionally use a metaphor from a children's play because it is somewhat childish. We cheer when we are up and we become tearful when we are down. And each time with complete identification and without ever really getting the principle of the game. The path to true inner power offers you a different mode of existence. Yes, it is less dramatic, but it is a way of being that leads you to total freedom. This is the greatest achievement of true inner power. You cease to be vulnerable to the unpredictable and ever-changing increases and decreases of your power. Actually, this is the best definition of true inner power. A continuous state of power. A state that doesn't depend on moment-by-moment superficial experiences of empowerment and weakening. This is also the most significant solution for the resentment we feel toward moments of weakness that give rise to our negative emotions. We step down from the seesaw that entraps us in attachment to empowering moments and avoidance of moments of weakness. So, in a state of true inner power, you, one, no longer depend on positive events to feel strong and complete. Two, no longer fear negative events that seem to weaken you. Of course, since this is by nature a world of power tensions, rising and falling, we will forever sit on the seesaw as choiceless participants. Life is this seesaw, so externally and superficially, we will always be exposed to the increase and decrease of our power. But internally, it is possible to completely step down and stop experiencing the nauseating and agitating movements. During each day, all day long, this fluctuating movement takes place. With every passing thought, with every impression, whenever I feel empowered, internally or externally, I feel good. Whenever I feel weakened, internally or externally, I feel bad. This is the reason for all our changing moods. And this ebb and tide is also the deepest cause of all our emotions. Negative emotions, anger, disappointment, fear, sadness are our resistance to the experience of weakness in the world and our attempt to deny and avoid it. Naturally, also the positive emotions are the byproduct of this dependency. Of course, we must admit that the advantage of this rising and falling is a continuous excitement and drama, just like we see in telenovelas. But the disadvantage is a continuous existential tension. So, what would you prefer? Now, how do we step down from the seesaw? Here is the practice. For a day, or a week, or even a month, manage a notebook or a Word document in which you write down moments of empowerment and weakening as they constantly change throughout your day. The dichotomy should be presented visually by using two columns in which the empowering moments appear against the moments of weakness. By using two columns, your eye can capture the tireless seesaw-like movements. You can choose whether to document even the slightest or subtlest moments in which a passing thought darkens your mood or a brief email elevates your mood. Even a single argument can be divided into moments in which it appears as if your power grew and moments in which you seemed to have lost your power. The crucial moment is when you sit in front of the two columns of that day at the end of each day, preferably at night, and read them carefully. At the end of your reading, close your eyes and ask yourself, what if these two columns, which seem like different kinds of experiences, are in reality one total game, the movements of a single seesaw? And then ask yourself, who am I outside this entire game? Feel the game as a whole, and then see yourself as a being that is separate from it. This increasing feeling of presence is true inner power, like a unified, unaffected being. This is your indestructible self. This practice will quickly become a new habit of mind. you will get used to considering the two seeming opposites as two complementary halves of the same phenomena. It will become very hard for you to think of power as empowering and weakness as weakening. Both will be experienced like a single energy continuum that fluctuates, just as sunshine and rain are both part of the continuum of the weather. Power will become a totally different state, one that has nothing to do with gratifying experiences in your life. Power will be a state of freedom that is revealed when you go beyond this play of energy. Power will be your true self.